Welcome to Hill Country Hustlers podcast. Today I'm here with Stacy Hill Sander from Harper, Texas, and she restores some leather products and makes them look really good and has recently got into lasering on things. We've got a really cool cup right here. I'll give you a closer look later after towards the end of the show, but she does some really cool stuff and she's going to share her story with us and what she does. So I'll pass it on to you if you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in Harper and my day job is that I'm a medical laboratory scientist at the hospital in Fredericksburg. So I sling blood and body fluids for a living and count cells and do that sort of a thing. But what I really love to do is make things. I really love to make cool stuff. That's my favorite thing. And so that's how I got into doing leather work, was because you can make some really cool stuff. And so everything that I sell, I make and make it pretty much from the ground up, just from a big, side of a cow and start cutting on it or tooling it or putting it together in ways that ends up being something really cool. So I make bags and I make shoes and I make notebooks and belts, purses, straps, anything that you can make out of leather. And so I always joke and say that I like to beat on dead cows and make them pretty, make dead cows into something nice.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Well, you really do make them look nice. I can't lie. So there's some truth to that one. Where are you from originally? Is it from here?
My hometown is Marble Falls. I lived in Houston, outside of Houston, until I was in high school, and then when I was in high school, we moved to Marble Falls, and so I call that my hometown. And I went to Texas A&M after that, and was there for 4 years. Was in Houston for a year of school after that, and then ended up in Brenham for a few years, and then Lake Jackson, Texas, down south of Houston. And 12 years ago, got to come back to the Hill Country and live in Harper. So it's been really good to come back to the Hill Country.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you. It's awesome to have a native Hill Country person on the podcast. So thank you for joining me. How did you kind of get this vision of creating things out of leather and now lasering?
Well, I always liked to make things. I always enjoyed sewing or crocheting or doing different things like that. And I played with that through the years and like to draw, like to do anything artistic really, or make things. And in 2016, my kids who were involved with 4-H went to 4-H camp in Brownwood. And I went with them thinking that they needed help, because I had done youth ministry and enjoyed being with kids. And so I was like, oh, well, I'll go and I'll help out. Well, come to find out, they really didn't need any help. But my daughter was doing, it was a kind of camp where you did something for the whole week and focused on it. And so my boys, who were junior high at that time, did a cardboard camp where they made weapons out of cardboard. It was like junior high boy heaven. And then my daughter was doing a leather and lacing track at her camp. And the county agent who taught the class helped supplement her income with making belts. And she did beautiful tooled leather belts and did beadwork that was inlaid in them. She supported her cutting horses with her leather. And I was like, that's really cool. I really like that. And I said, can I make something too? Because the kids were all going to make belts that week. And I was like, just thought I was there to help. And I was like, well, can I do something too? And she said, of course you can. And so I learned how, just some very basic, how to cut it out and how to put, the leather together. We hand stitched those belts. We did real simple tooling patterns on them, that sort of a thing. And so I made a belt. And I really enjoyed it. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And people are willing to, they see the value in it and they're willing to pay for it. So I want to do some more of this. I think this is something I could do. And so I went, as most leather workers do when they get started, they go to like a Tandy leather store. And so I went to one in San Antonio and invested more money than what I had into some tools. And of course, they were not great tools, but they got me started. And so I just started to learn things. I found out there was a huge leatherworking community online on Facebook, and there were a lot of classes that you could do online. There were a lot of in-person things that were available, but not really close by. So it took a little while for me to get to go to some of those things. But anyway, I just started to learn everything that I could. And got to meet some people who were really up and coming in the leather world, and got to work with them and learn from them. And so just through the years, tried different things, tried to make different things, and here we are, 9 years later, with
Mhm.
a whole lot of other things that I've been making.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's been about a 9-year process to get to this point.
So far.
And
Mhm.
when did Rustically Redeemed Leather become official?
I think it was probably within the first year of me doing it. So it was probably late 2016 or early 2017 whenever I got started. And I really didn't have any business selling that first stuff that I put out, because I look at it now and I think, "Oh my gosh, that was terrible. It did not look good." But of course at the time I thought it looked great.
Mhm.
But since then, my skills have improved a lot, and I feel like I've just learned from some of the people who are very, very gifted at it and have improved through the years.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and I think that's a key for any business, but I'm glad you touched on it. Could you expand on that a little bit more of how you grow your skills and how important that is to you?
Oh yeah, I think that it's really important to continue improving, because one thing, you can get kind of discouraged, especially with artistic pursuits and things like that, because there's always going to be people that do beautiful work that you look at and that you're inspired by, but that you're also, it's like, oh my gosh, it looks like a third grader did what I did compared to what they do. And so it can be kind of discouraging, but I will say everyone in the leather world has been really encouraging. And most people that I've found have been very, very helpful. They don't seem to gatekeep a lot of secrets or anything like that. People want to help you and want to see you get better and improve your skills. And if you look back on where you start, if you keep at it and you keep working at it and you keep learning things, it definitely improves and it definitely gets better the more that you learn and the more that you practice. And so it's been a really great journey of just kind of doing that. And there's always going to be somebody who is better than you are, that you see their skills and their work, and you're just kind of in awe of it. And then there's always going to be people that are coming up behind you that maybe haven't been doing it as long as you have, that you can help teach and help them to grow their skills as well. And so I want to help other people to learn to do what I did and to be that person for somebody else.
Yeah, that's really cool. You have that kind of community with this craft specifically that's healthy and wants to help people grow. And it probably helps you learn some things too by teaching others the things you know, I would imagine,
Right.
reinforcing ideas at the minimum.
Definitely.
Wow, that's really neat. And I like how you kind of touch on enjoying passing down your skills. There's a lot of people that do like to gatekeep their stuff and don't want to move
Mhm.
things on to the next generation. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like there's business enough for all of us. I I mean, right now things are a little bit slow, it seems, but for the most part, I've had plenty of work, and I think most people do. There's so many different things, directions that you can go with leather, so many different items you can make, different styles of things, and everybody likes something different. And I think there's plenty of work to go around for all of us. So there's not really any reason to try and guard,
Yeah.
whatever secrets or whatever.
Hmm. That makes sense. So I'm going to change gears a little bit, but I wanted to touch on time management because you work full time at the hospital whenever you started this. You have
Oh,
three
I do
kids.
still.
Oh, see, yeah. So how do you kind of manage this with your work and your family and all of
Well, I work at the hospital. I do all of my hours in 3 days. So I work early morning until late evening, which has worked out really well for me, because with the leather, as with a lot of things like this, there's a lot of different steps that you take and a lot of different parts of the process that maybe you have to wait for a little while or whatever. And so it's really nice to have 4 days off of work together, where you can work on a multi-step process and be able to make progress on that without having to stop and go to another job or to do something like that, and then come back and try and figure out where you're at, what you're doing, that sort of a thing. It's really nice to have the work all, where you can be all in, with work and with what you're doing there, and then you can be all in the shop and doing what you're doing there for 4 days. And so that's kind of how I juggle the work part. The kids part, I have 3 kids. I have 2 that graduated in 2023 from high school and one that just graduated a couple of months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so, anyway, the year that my twins were seniors in high school, I kind of laid back a little bit in the shop because I didn't want to be doing stuff all the time while they were having all of their senior year things go on. I wanted to be able to be present with them. And so I did some work, but I didn't really advertise a whole lot. When they went off to college, I obviously needed to pick up the pace on some of the work and that sort of a thing. And so I was trying to do that. And ever since then, I've been trying to kind of get back out there. And it just seems like a lot of things have changed with marketing and, the social media and the algorithms and all that sort of a thing. So I've been trying to learn and pick up on all that ever since for the last couple of years, trying to figure some of that out. And I don't know. I think maybe I'm getting a little bit of it, but there's a long way to go. And as soon as you think you have it figured out, a lot of it changes. So, anyway, but my daughter's senior year, I took on orders, but I didn't have quite as many of them as what I might would have had when she wasn't a senior. But now that all 3 of them are going to be off at school, hopefully I can get plenty of business to keep me going, on all of my time that I have available. That's what I'd really like.
Yeah. I like how you touched on the algorithm right there. I deal with it a little bit with the podcast stuff, and it really is like learning a whole nother skill almost.
Right.
And it's like learning what words to put in there, what timing.
Right.
Andrew's helped me with a lot of that, but I didn't realize how vast that is.
Yeah, that and website stuff and SEO and I'm learning a whole nother language because I got a biomedical science degree. I didn't learn anything about this business stuff. So I listen to all kinds of podcasts and books and watch YouTube and try and figure it out. There's a lot out there. I don't feel like I know a lot yet, but I'm working on it.
Well, that's awesome. Good to know. Always adding to those skills, and that's good. Well, I don't really have too many more questions, but I want to let you shout out some of these items, and I'll move the camera so we can get a good look at them. Can we see that one again?
So this is let me see. Hold it up here. This is a shave kit. I just went last week actually to Waco to my favorite leather store. It's called Maker's Leather Supply. It's actually in Elmont, which is close to Waco. And they will have classes there from time to time. The people who own and run that store are wonderful about pouring into the leathercraft community and into their local community as well, and trying to help people to learn leathercraft and introduce it to new people and that sort of thing. And one thing they do is host classes. And so they brought a teacher down from Idaho who I've taken some classes from before. Her name's Leandra Martin. She makes beautiful things. And she taught this class for making a shave kit. And the cool thing about it is that it's got the construction has got a frame to where it opens all the way up and you can actually see your things in there. So I put my own little spin on it with a little boot stitch, which is real popular these days, and a little two-tone on the leather. It's got a handle, it's fully lined, so it's really pretty. One of the things that I've been trying to get into a little bit is the wedding market some. I have made over 200 pairs of sandals before my boys were seniors and I was staying very, very busy. I made a ton of sandals, mostly for brides. And so, and I have sandals in probably most of the states around the United States. There's probably a few I haven't hit, but most of them have got at least 1 or 2 pairs of my sandals that are walking around. I made a pair of sandals for someone in Australia and I made some for someone in England. So that was really neat to think that my shoes are walking around on the other side of the world. But I've also done some of these shave kits, like for groomsmen gifts, makeup bags for bridesmaids gifts, done belts for grooms. I've done a jacket that has like tooled lapels on it for a groom. And so I thought that this would be a good offering to try and up my game on shave kits because I've made a lot of nice shave kits, but not any with the lining and with the frame. So that was a cool thing to learn how to do. Yeah. This is just my little notebook that I carry around because I like paper and pen. I don't take my notes in a electronic fashion most of the time. I like my notebook still, and so I love journals. I was that kid who always loved like office supplies and, would always want to buy a pad of paper or new pens or whatever. So had to make myself a journal cover. So I did that. I've made several journal covers, pad folios. You can put a legal pad in, that sort of a thing. Now that I've got the ability to laser things, I can put logos on for people if they have, want to give them as appreciation gifts, things like that.
We got one of those right here, actually.
Yeah. So one of the things I can laser on is cups and tumblers. I can do it on hat patches and make hats. I just added the laser to my shop the first week in April. And I went to a class in San Antonio all week to learn how to use it. And so that's been a lot of fun trying to do that. But I can put logos on merchandise and things that I make on leather and on all kinds of other things too. So that's really been a lot of fun. I hope that it adds a lot of value to the things that I can offer. Here's a little card wallet. It's got my business cards in it. This was a class that I'm hoping to offer soon, is for just for beginner leather crafters, maybe not to do the tooling on the front like what I did, but to learn how to just build a real simple little wallet, because it's a real sense of accomplishment, I think, when you can carry something like this around and be like, hey, look what I made, and I did that. And so it's a really great way you can learn to cut the leather, you can learn to fit it, you can learn to do edges, you can learn the hand stitching and things like that. I do have machines that I do most of my stitching with, but I want to teach the hand stitching because not everybody can afford to get a leather sewing machine. So that's kind of nice to have. Oh, I said hats. So with the laser, here's one of the hats that I made. This is a ponytail hat. I have a wiener dog. His name is Banjo, and we love wiener dogs at my house. So one of my boys helped me to do this. He's at home for the summer. He's home from Baylor, and he's actually working at the hospital with me, which is super cool. Nice. He wants to go to medical school, and so he's working in our laboratory. But he also has been working with me in the shop, which is great, and making hats because he loves the hats. And so he helped me to design the Mighty Ween little wiener dog there that we put together. And then I really like the serape stuff. There's my logo for my business that I've got that I put on to a hat. So I can do those sorts of things on leather or on this leatherette stuff that's got pretty patterns on it or whatever. So yeah, all sorts of things like that I can do.
That is really cool. Thank you for showing us all of that. I really appreciate it. And I think that's going to really do well with the viewers because I was really entertained by it. So I'm hoping. Y'all give her a look. Do y'all have Facebook?
I have a Facebook, and it's just me. It's a one girl shop. But yes, I have a Facebook. It's Rustically Redeemed Leather and Laser. I have a website that is rusticallyredeemedtx.com. And I've got an Etsy store. I don't do a lot with that anymore, but it's now that I have the website. But I have that. I've got Instagram, TikTok, wherever. You can find me on all of those things.
Okay, sounds good. Y'all look up Rustically Redeemed Leather and Laser and get some really cool products. Maybe a belt, maybe a wallet, whatever you're looking for.
Wedding packages. Yeah, I'm doing wedding packages now too, trying to do those sorts of items.
Yes.
So, yeah.
If you know anybody getting married, call Stacy Hill Sander. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.